Well, a very good afternoon from Sapporo in Japan on the North Island for the continuing action of the Eastman World Cup of ski jumping. I'm David Goldstrom, together with the Eurosport's Nordic team, on what I have to say is really quite a comfortable day. The temperature hovering around about zero. The snow temperature, though, much chillier. And, of course, all ready for this competition, which yesterday had its qualification phase. 67 competitors, of which 57 were looking for one of 40 places. So pretty well, as we were chatting to Walter Hofer in his memory, the biggest turnout for qualification here that we've actually ever had for a visit to Japan. And there is the city, the fourth largest city in Japan, and of course host to the 1972 Winter Olympic Games. Sapporo and this big stadium with a modernized in-run, refrigerated, and for the first time. Well, once again, a very good afternoon and welcome to Sapporo. For all of those of you back home, thank you for getting up so early to hopefully enjoy what will be a really good competition. The qualification was yesterday, a really big field. In Walter Hofer's memory, 67 starters, of which 57 had to try to qualify for one of the 40 available places to go along with the top 10. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, qualification competitions we've ever had coming over to Japan and the World Cup. So here, an important weekend because although a number of the big names have not made the journey, they've decided to miss Sapporo because of the Olympic preparations. We found ourselves in the top 10 with only two of the men who are genuinely, according to the points table, in the top 10. The best of them being Petar Prejc for Slovenia, who's genuine third in the table, behind Kamil Stoch and the absent Schlierenzau, those two men back home. And also Noriaki Kasai, the captain of the Japanese team, at position number 6. So everybody else, like Takauchi, like Kranets, Tepes, Ito, Leutzel, actually they're all outside the top 10. Nonetheless, fascinating because there are still one or two Olympic decisions that depend on what happens today. Most importantly for the Austrians. As you can see, it's not a chilly afternoon here. Snow temperature -10. But the big thing here, as you see the statistics for the hill, is the in-run, which has been modernized. It's got a cooling system, it's refrigerated, and so it's up to the modern standard. Calculation line, as you just saw a moment ago, is 120 meters. The hill record, which belongs to the great Rua Yokosoi, who used to love coming out here, at 140 meters. The hill size at 134 meters. And if any of the coaches choose to push the gate down for any of their athletes, then they have to reach, those athletes, 127 meters if they are to collect the compensation points, whatever those happen to be at the time. So here we go with the starting order. And Daito Takahashi, you might remember him from Nordic Combined. He's 33 years of age. Takunabe Okabe, 43 years of age. But he won't be going to the Olympic Games. The granddad of Japanese ski jumping as he is now. Came over to Europe, but it didn't really come off for him. Martin Koch over here, hopefully in what we believe will be his final season, is going to have more success in the month of March in the ski flying. Maxim Moshkin there, very good achievements in the Universiade, and he's graduated and earned himself a place with the Russian team going to Sochi. There at 49 is Kasai, and Prejc will be last to go. In the 50, he'll be looking for one of 30 places, of course, in the second round. So just a reminder of our email address, nordicskitv@gmail.com. Very good afternoon to, now I can't really work this out, MGR, but your question is why only 3 women allowed to go to Sochi, whereas the men's teams are allowed 5. Well, it's the first Winter Olympics appearance for the women, and they have to look at the overall quality threshold and the if you like, the benchmark by which they've set means that 3 women per nation is the max. And if you don't fill those 3 places, then you have to give however many you don't fill, 1 or 2 back for redistribution. And you can't satisfy all of the people all of the time, but that's the way that the International Ski Federation have sorted it out. Hello, Marty. Good to have your company as we see start gate number 19 for the first of our 2 rounds. I absolutely agree with you. Great to see Korfler. He's actually not in bad shape. It's just 1 or 2 technical things that, or technical errors that he makes that holds him back for being really tip-top and vying for all those good places. But here we go. Shohei Toshimoto for Japan to set the standard from gate number 19. Good little bit of aggression, and that's a lovely start. Over 120 meters. I have to say that yesterday's qualification was dreary, to be honest. And there were some mediocre performances, but that's a great start. And Shohei, who many of you will remember, having been on the World Cup circuit for many a season, 7 seasons, but this year his form has evaporated, and so never a chance to go to the Olympic Games, which is disappointing, but he is only 24, so he will have a chance, hopefully, in 2018 in Alpensia in South Korea. Daito Takahashi, 33 years of age. And unbalanced coming off the table there, but he still gets over the calculation line, and the front win favorable. 8.8 points the deduction for Shohei Toshimoto, and that's like taking 5 meters off his distance of 126.5. But this is actually quite respectable. And yeah, a little smile there, and deserved so, because he goes into 2nd place. A meter behind, and just a little bit more wind deduction. And now Takunabu Okabe, who was until Bad Mittendorf the oldest ski jumper to ever win a World Cup, but now that record belongs to teammate Kasai. And Takunabu there, well, a good 5 meters short of the calculation line. But you have to remember that what a great achiever. Olympic gold medal in Nagano with that Japanese team in the middle of a snowstorm. That has to be his lifetime highlight. 5 World Cup wins in his career, but still, he's got the hunger. Member of the famous Snow Brand club, supported by Meg Milk. That was the club of Masahiko Harada, Happy Harada. And now at the other end of the Japanese age range, Junshiro Kobayashi, 22 years of age. So it's possible that Toshimoto and this man could be the future. But they've got a lot of work to do at the moment to be up there with the likes of certainly Kasai, and to a certain extent Daiki Ito and Takauchi. But Ito and Takauchi have still got a lot to offer. And 3rd place there for Kobayashi, some 9.6 points off the lead. That's a healthy 5 meters, or an unhealthy 5 meters back. Only 30 required, and now the first of the international participants, and this is Markus Eisenbichler. Eisenbichler, who did well in qualification yesterday. No World Cup points this season, and only one in his career prior to this campaign. But that's very good indeed, but also a lot of pressure under the skis. Now, I just wonder whether the jury might start thinking about the gate here. 12.8 points is going to be the deduction for Eisenbichler, which is like 7 meters. 134 meters, that's right on the hillside. Gets the telemark, and this will lead. Even with the deduction, it will lead. 125.4, and that's a 6-point advantage. Now, Ville Larinto for Finland. Body and mind not together in time to raise a real challenge to be one of Pekka Niemela's picks for Sochi. But, again, here is a young man who's had more than his fair share of injuries, 23 years of age. There is a future for him. And he's over. Not 125, I would say around about 123 meters there for him. 122, in fact. A little discrepancy. The ski's not quite parallel during the flight phase. And telemark is not that bad. So 17s, probably. And 4th spot at the moment. Your judges today are Martin Vrhovnik in box A from Slovenia, Masahiko Takahashi from Japan in B, Michael Lorenz from Germany in C, Vadim Lisovsky from Russia in D, and Teppo Nieminen from Finland in box E. Now here's a name many of you will have not been familiar with before. 22-year-old Joachim Høyer for Norway. And that's, I have to say, unlikely to qualify for the second round. I think the threshold here, given these conditions, is going to be pretty demanding, and that's only 112 meters, so disappointing from his point of view. I'll try and go through 1 or 2 team selections as we go through this first round for the Olympic Games. Just a quick reminder, Nordic Ski TV at Gmail, our email address. And Nico Polychronidis, Greek dad, trains at Oberstdorf, hasn't really set the world alight this year, but he will be going to the Olympic Games. And that's a confidence boost. Front wind, and front wind of about 1 meter per second, straight up the hill. So really helpful conditions for these boys. And this is encouraging. Spectators, well, not so many. We haven't got a Sara Takanashi here to motivate the Japanese fans to come out from the city. But he's frustrated that he didn't do better, and Polychronidis, with a big amount of pressure, gets a big deduction of some 12 points, and so that drops him down to 6th place, some almost 20 points off the lead at the moment. Christoph Mietus, one of the 2 Mietus brothers. Again, here's an athlete whose form has just slipped away. Now, I don't know where those Polish fans come from. They are amazing. They turn up all over the place, but I can only assume that they're out here living and have found their way to support them. Lukas Krojcek, the head coach, will be taking camel stock as the captain of the team. Maciek Kot, Jan Ziobrov, Piotr Zewa, and David Kubacki, who really in Zakopane sealed his place ahead of the likes of, say, Krzysztof Bigun, and that's the Polish team going. Here's Hrgota for Poland, for Slovenia. Full Slovenian team out here. That's a really nice thing of Goran Janus to have done, but he wouldn't have done it out of sentiment. There's a sort of maxim in the Slovenian team that competition is better than training, and 132.5 meters. That's a healthy effort by the 25-year-old. And he's never been better than 22nd in World Cup. He's got a real chance of that with this sort of platform. A little scrappy on the landing there, but still got, what, 1, 2, 3 marks of 18. And Slovenia, Goran Janus, his fivesome going to Sochi. Petar Prejuc, Robert Kranitz, Yuri Tepes, Jaka Hvala, and Jerne Damjan. Tepes and Hvala are the ones who need to regain their best form. Switzerland, Eggloff. Martin Kunzel. Well, the two names he's nominated at the moment for the Swiss, as you might imagine, are Simon Oman and Gregor Deschwanden. And the only lady I've got nominated is Bigna Windmuller. By the way, Monday, that is the absolute cut-off for the entries. Eggloff won't be going, and he won't be continuing further in this competition with only 90 points as well. Regota leading for Slovenia, ahead of Eisenbichler. Toshimoto in third place at the moment, and Grimsrud now for Norway. And this is interesting. It's just showing out here some men who've been working in Continental Cup, and this man has stayed on since Continental Cup here, previous weekend. And that's good. He was 3rd and 4th and 5th in the 3 competitions here in Sapporo. So this is very familiar territory for him at the moment. Just 21, member of the Russki Ski Club, which is close to Oslo, and 125 meters. And that's not too bad. Not too bad at all. 5th place, 111. And I would think 125 would have a shot of being up there for qualification. Well, Karol Nurmsalu is the familiar name for Estonians in terms of ski jumping. Here's another of their youngsters. This is the 20-year-old Samuel Selk. And that might just be the wrong side of the calculation line. Again, he's been out here in Sapporo. 119.5 meters. He's half a meter shy, so not 60 points for distance, but 59.10. But encouraging, well, just to see another man here who's representing Estonia. And that's 16th place he got in Sapporo in the Continental Cup, his lifetime best. There it is, stretching away as we head into the late afternoon. Sapporo and the North Island, the 4th largest city of the country. The conditions today ideal, although I have to say that the prognosis for tomorrow is a little bit more tricky. We think we're going to get that much more wind and snow coming in, but today should be absolutely fine. So the jury, 19 is the gate they've chosen, and holding to that, the technical delegate is Mika Jukara from Finland, assisted by Frisch Koch, Walter Hofer and Miran Tepes out here, of course, and Sepp Gratzer likewise. Chief of competition from Japan, Hiroyuki Okita. Now, Pius Paschke. And that's okay. That's okay in terms of getting into bonus point territory. The style, though, is where he might find himself a little wanting there. You can see the ski differential throughout the flight phase. And trying to make those corrections, but it's costly. And 10th place, 103, that's 23 points off the lead. And even if he qualifies, you know, that's 12 to 13 meters off the current leader. So difficult to look at a really good attacking performance in the second round, but a personal best still possible. Sami Niemi, disappointed not to be going to Sochi, this 22-year-old Finn. But he will have to try again, but there are many stepping stones on the way. Next year we have the Nordic Ski World Championships in Falun. And after that we have Nordic Ski World Championships in Lahti before we come to Alpensia in 2018. Not optimal in terms of the touchdown phase, but 123.5, and that's 16 points off the lead. These are big margins here, even though this is a big hill. Now, Romania, who will be represented at the Olympics, I have to say there's a couple of the boys around. I think this is the more likely man to get the nod. Sorin Julian Piteo, 16 years of age. He's been out here in Sapporo in the Continental Cup and has also notched up a personal best. He was 12th in one of the competitions here. So that's a nice boost for him. And in a sense, it's good to have another East European country represented in the mix. And just being asked to take a pause here as the wind just changes a little bit. It's just a little bit turbulent, but it's really the strength. It's still predominantly a front wind, but it's actually leapt up. I've just seen a flash of about 4 meters per second.
As 12 jumpers have finished the first round, we have Robert Forcota at the first place, and at the second place Markus Eisenbichler, and on the third place Shohei Tochimoto from Japan.
So at the moment things need to settle down a little bit. And that's the reason for the pause at the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, please note that at the moment we have some issues with the wind conditions, and that is why the competition has a little break.
Public address announcer, she's beautifully polite and just explaining to the public there that we've got some wind issues. It's really good that they've invested the money here in Sapporo in upgrading the in-run, and that's a positive boon, I have to say, to the sport here. It's always difficult to persuade the top men to come out here in an Olympic season, but I just hope that in future seasons we will get more of the top 10 out here.
We are now ready to resume with the competition. Number 16, Sorin Julian.
So things have calmed a little bit, but I wouldn't say completely at the moment. I think a little more patience. Just a chat about the Austrians while we've got this pause on. I don't think they can let him go, and it's not settled, it's not stable at the moment. Austria have chosen 4 of their 5 men, and out here we have Wolfgang Leutzel, we have Stefan Kraft, and we have Andy Kofler. Now Andy Kofler won the qualification yesterday, and one of those 3 will become the 5th man to be confirmed on Monday. And the other members of the team, as you might imagine, well, Gregor Schlierenzau definitely there. Thomas Diethardt, winner of the Vier Schanzen, he's definitely got a place. Michael Hebeck, who I think has been tremendous in his consistency and his contribution. He's got place number 3 there. And place number 4 to Tommy Morgenstern. That was at a press conference a couple of days ago, and that was confirmed. And obviously, all of us have got our fingers crossed that it's a really successful and safe return to ski jumping action for Morgie. The physical side, you can heal that, and Morgie is no stranger to recovering from bumps and bruises. Many of you will remember his awful crash from many years ago in Kusamo, another one in Kuopio, and then more recently this season in Titisee Neustadt before the problem in Kulm. So gutsy guy, Tommy Morgenstern, as I say. We want him safe, but we'd love to see him back at his best at the Olympics. So, still being asked to wait here, and the wind actually, as I said right at the beginning of the competition, it was really quiet and stable. It was around about 1 meter per second, but suddenly it moved up to 2 meters per second. And well, I can glad he's smart. Now this is the moment now, having been pushed off, unclip the skis. That's exactly right. Rebuild the position when they tell you, and then that's a much better way to address the issue of being delayed. And of course now they're looking to take the gate down because of the strengthening front wind. Now of course that means less in-run to work with, and therefore this will mean a gate compensation to balance against the wind deduction.
We will also have a test jump.
So remember, it was gate 19.
Test jump.
Test jumper, just to make sure that the in-run speed is okay. 88.9 kilometers there. And that compares, let's take the leader speed of Hergota, 90.6. So that's a kilometer less. So gate 17, so we go down 2 gates, and the compensation there is 9 points. That equates to 5 meters exactly. Now that's in his favor. The wind is stronger. That is against him. It's been a bit of a wait. Not bad. You have to put it into context about this man is only 16. His experience is minimal. He has been out here for a while, and the wind strength was strong. 14 points worth of deduction, but put that against the 9. That's 5 points. There you see, 4.7 is the actual deduction. So that's how the compensation works out. And he drops down into 13th place. Vegard Svensson for Norway works these days in his sport out of Lillehammer. Great gymnasium centre there, and that's not bad, and a really nice telemark on the end. Now that's worth 18s, I think. 122.5 the distance, but I'm not seeing too many 18s. I've seen 2 of them. And the wind strength up to 18 points the deduction. That means take 9 off, that's 9 left, that's 5 meters. So it's like reducing his distance from 122.5 to 117.5, and that's why he's down to 9th place.
Number 18, Nec Detsman, Slovenia.
Desmond, Slovenia leading. Hrgota being challenged by his teammate, Nej Desmond. And look at that. And that is a massive distance. And that's can't be far short, 2-3 meters. Yeah, indeed. Only 2-3 meters short of the hill record here.
7 meters.
But again, you're going to get the modification because 16 points will come off, but 9 will be added back. So that's a 7-point deduction. 7-point deduction, that's, call it 4 meters. So 133, and Slovenia are first and second, and Desmond has got the lead, and he's got a 10-point lead over his teammate. So this could be quite interesting. And now Sternen for Norway. At his best, he could certainly mix it here. Almost won a World Cup last season in Oberstdorf, the ski flying at Oberstdorf. That was poor, and it was poor on his part, and you have to put that down to him, I'm afraid.
110.5 meters. And Sternen currently to the 19th place.
So Sternen, I'm saying, sadly, I don't think he's going to make it through to the second round. And Stefan Hula, well, he's not going to the Olympic Games. He has represented Poland in 2006 in Torino, in Pragelato, and again in Vancouver. He's 27. Out of the question that he could find his form and come back for Alpenzia, but such is the strength in depth and the reservoir of talents amongst the Polish youngsters, he would find it very hard to see another Olympics, I think. And 121.5 meters for Stefan. Never won a World Cup. Top 10, yes. What would be 3 seasons ago in Engelberg, a 7th place there, the best he's ever done. And he has been a Continental Cup winner, ironically also in Alpenzia in 2010. Heiskanen for Finland. That's okay, but again, he will lose some points, but it was actually rather well timed off the table. And this could see him through, actually, to the second round. It's over 125 meters, and the flight phase was pretty good. The telemark, ooh. Well, they've actually given him the benefit of the doubt. There's only one, yeah. Most of those deductions, 1.5 points, would have come on that last phase there. And that's pretty good, up to 4th place, top Finn. Desmond, Hrgota, Eisenbichler for Germany. The first 2, of course, for Slovenia. Then Heiskanen for Finland. And then Toshimoto, who started off the competition, still up there in 5th place. But there are 18 big points separating 1st to 5th, and that is a distance of 10 meters. Hi Nathan, good to have your company. You're thinking about the Finns and what's happened to them, and I think Nathan, it's one of those things that they had such a good talent group, and the next generation really weren't brought through. They have a crop of juniors, but they're not ready for now, or indeed, I don't think they'll be ready for Falun. But after that, and building up to Alpenzia, I think Finland can come back to their best. At the moment, seeing Koivalanta regaining his form, and the potential from Jarkko Mata, I think that's 2 steps in the right direction. And there's a good effort from Danny Queck of Germany. Danny Queck, who certainly, I think, is a name to just keep in your mind for the future for the Germans. Danny was third yesterday in the qualification with 126 meters, exactly the same distance as he's produced today, and pretty well the same sort of marks. What did he get there? He got 125.1 yesterday, and he's got 120 today, a few less. Roberto Della Sega for Italy. Well, Roberto has the possibility to put good performances together, but whether he can find consistency, but that is exactly what I was looking for, the illustration of my words. And he was 21st in Engelberg, which was a lifetime best before Christmas, and Della Sega at 133 meters. And he's only going to lose about 3 points on balance here. And star-wise, that should be in the 18s. This is good. And he's up to second place. So that is a challenge. That's good for Della Sega. And he's now giving himself a chance, who knows, to get a lifetime best. An old friend, Martin Koch. I do hope that when we come to the ski flying, remember it's World Championships in the last part of the season at Harakov, that this man is firing on all cylinders. Just over 120 meters, but the 32-year-old from Villach this year not in the top 15 in any competitions. Ski flying silver and bronze medalist in his time, and winner of 5 World Cup competitions. In fact, I over-egged it a little bit, 219.5 meters there, and down in 15th place. And we're just about at halfway, so remember, that means that Koch is anything but safe in terms of qualification. Ryohei Shimizu, who will be going to the Olympics for Japan, youngest man of the squad at 20. Summer Grand Prix is where he's really asked us to take note of him, 20. And Kasai, of course, is 41, so that's the age stretch between the youngest and the most senior in the Japanese team. And Ryohei, this is pretty decent, I would say. And the wind has dropped off now, so he's going to get a bonus. He's going to get a plus. There you have it, 1.3. So that's more than half a meter, and he is into third place. So Ryohei, another member of the famous Snowbrand Club, and Ronan Lamy Chapuis. Ronan flying the flag while Decombe Savoie continues to struggle painfully. And that's good, isn't it? This is the only man who can bring a smile to the face of Matthias Zupin, the French head coach. Decombe, who was 41st in qualification, missed out by 1 place, missed out by, what, 0.5 of a point. But Ronan, 18th in Zakopane, lifetime best. Should go to the Olympic Games, but the French can't really muster a team. They're more likely to look at the likes of Colleen Mattel to win Olympic honors for the French women. Robert Johansson, something about this man, and I would certainly have him in a corner of my notebook for future performances for the Norwegians. Came to us Kurm in the ski flying with a little bit of attention, and didn't quite fulfill it there, but I think there's something for this Lillehammer-based man who could be contributing to the future of Norwegian ski jumping. Only 23. Hansen into 4th place. And now Klava. It's been anything but a stellar campaign for this 29-year-old Czech. Well, that's what he needs. He needs confidence. He needs good efforts. He needs to put another one of these together in the second round to get the best possible position. 130 meters. So distance is good. As David Juratek, he doesn't have a big band of talent to pick and choose from, but he's taken 4th place from Johansson. Now 7 points separating the top 5. Yuta Watase, air ticket confirmed for him to Russia. 31 years of age, and you've got to go back a long way to find his personal best in World Cup. 2001, the year before Salt Lake City, and he produced an 8th place finish. And then 2009, right here in Sapporo, a 5th place finish. Those are a little distant in the memory. Okay, just a pity that he couldn't hold the stability there. 31 years of age, but as we know from the likes of Okabe and particularly Kasai, age is no impediment. Kasai, who is always saying how fit he is and how good he feels. And Watase into 6th place. Could be interesting to see where and for what competitions Watase and Rui Shimizu get picked. Who is actually the 5th man? Who is the 4th man, for example, in the team competition? A lot will depend, but one of the things out in Olympic Games is you get out there pretty early and you have an extraordinary amount of practice time, and it's really important to manage your energy. Bresadola for Italy, and not as good as Della Sega. Bresadola, who has been a little bit in and out of the Italian pick.
114 meters.
Mid-20s, never been to the... Sorry, I was going to say never been to the Olympics. Of course, he was in Pragelato, but not in Vancouver. 24th place and some 35 points off the lead, and unlikely to figure now because we've got 20 to go. And if you're in the top 10, there are the top 10. So these are the only men at the moment who you can definitely say you're going to see in the second round. And there's 14 points separating them. Now, all of these men, including the talented Danny Quek and Toshimoto, who was good in the beginning, they now have to wait for some of the last 20 to fall by the wayside. So their destiny effectively in the hands of others.
87.5 meters.
Your leader, Nej Desmond, ahead of De La Sega, then Ronan Lamy-Chapuis of France, Klava of the Czech Republic, and Johansson of Norway. Good mix of countries. And then the best of the Japanese, Yuta Watase, in 6th place. So here we go, the final 20 in this first round, and Hayek of the Czech Republic. Another man who could do with a little good fortune out here. Good ski flyer, he's a good flyer, but on a hill like this he should be able to profit, and that's well enough controlled. Best Czech, Lukas Klava, at the moment. Never been on a World Cup podium, but the closest he ever got to one was here back in 2010, and also in the same season on the ski flying hill in Tauflitz. Well, so far in Tauflitz this year he was 21st, so 8th place at the moment. So that puts him into qualification, and just at the moment the man who's hanging on, hoping for a place, is Danny Quek. Now, Danny Quek, 126 meters and 120 points exactly. So less than that number of points, Danny Quek will come into the second round. Fettner for Austria. Good effort from him. Manu has, throughout his career, a number of purple patches, and he might be having one today there. That's over 130 meters, and who knows, could he get onto the podium, I wonder. He's been third once in his life. And now Yone Damian, here's a man who has found a purple patch. He's on an upward curve of form and challenging his teammate Nej Desman. Yone Damian in arguably his best form for 6 or 7 years. And that's pretty good. The gate, I should remind you, has gone down to 19, so he gets 9 points in his favor. Sets us against the wind, 11.6 points deduction, or in fact 12. So he's going to only lose less than 2 meters. 135.5 meters. This could put him in the lead. And it does, 140.2. And it's all about the fact that the wind deduction for him was considerably less than it was for teammate Nej Desman. And that's why he's there in the lead by 2.6 points. And we have Slovenia 1, Slovenia 2 at the moment. Maximoshkin for Russia. Absolutely delighted. And delighted, I was going to say, because he's been picked for Sochi. And after the Universiade in his World Cup performances, not that he's had a great number of them, it did look slightly worrisome that he would struggle to make the transition between Universiade, which is a much lower grade than World Cup, but then with a big boost of wind and some really good techniques, so I'll take nothing away from him. He produced that lifetime best in Zakopane, 5th place in that windy one-round controversial competition last Sunday, and goes to Sochi. Karl Geiger from Oberstdorf, young German ski jumper for the future. Last year he was knocking on the door to get a place in the German team for the World Championships in Val di Fiemme. That didn't happen.
133.5 meters.
But this year he's not managed to really suggest to Werner Schuster that he was good enough to earn a place in the German Olympic squad. But he's second now. And again, very little wind deduction, and that puts him ahead of Desman, splits the two Slovenians. And now the competition beginning to take shape. Danny Quek of Germany still waiting in the wings, and Naglitz now. Must get over 120 meters to keep Danny Quek waiting, and he does so. Naglitz 8th in Zakopane. So this full Slovenian team who've come out here this morning, as it is for you, really delivering the goods. You can see now competition started at 4:30 local time, and now we're edging towards the evening, floodlights on, and 1:32, and we have 3 Slovenians in the top 4. Now, next up, Manuel Poppinger. Played a really good part, was absolutely solid in the Continental Cup rankings, earned his chance to compete in the World Cup. And not this time around, but Poppinger at, just forgotten his age now, it's only 24, so he could be a future star for the Austrians as well. Now this is just short of 125 meters, as you could probably see, and that's going to drop him down a little bit. 19th place though.
Number 38, Ole Marius Ingvaldsen, Norway.
I've got by my calculations Danny Quek in now to qualification. Yes, Danny Quek in, Poppinger below, and that's all about the relative deductions. Remember, Danny Quek 126 meters and Poppinger 124, so that's part of the reason why Poppinger is now having to wait and see whether his performance will be good enough. And Ingvaldsen on the bar now for Norway. 3 top 30 point scoring efforts, but all of those in the first phase of the season, from late November up till Christmas time, and nothing since. So his performance graph, a red line, shallow and descending from left to right on the piece of paper, if you can imagine that. He's done well though, Ingvaldsen, in the past out here. As you see, Kasai came out to Sapporo in 2012 as part of the Norwegian team, was runner-up here, and was runner-up here last season in one of the competitions. So he's got form, so to say, here in Japan. 89 kilometers, not bad in run speed, but not used. Transition poor, timing awful, and out of the competition. No chance whatsoever, and that was all over the place. He was late, and it was unbalanced, and two-footed on the landing, and it's forgettable. Second competition tomorrow, but you can see already 32nd out of the top 30, and for today, he's a goner. As I said, the form that he had in the first phase of the season, that's evaporated, and now Gregor Deschwanden, who's going with Simon Amann to Switzerland. Simi back home. Deschwanden with still a lifetime best from the very first competition of the season, 10th place in Klingenthal. But we've seen good things from him. He was a point scorer here last year, a couple of top 20 finishes, and only 22. And he's established himself, Deschwanden, as the number 2 for Switzerland. Andy Kufler just around the corner. Likewise, Michael Neumar. There he is in foreground on the right there, wearing 41. Kufler, if he gets a result out of today's competition, he's almost done the job. There he is, wearing bib number 40, 2 up from you. As I say, he's actually not in bad shape. He just, in this campaign, too often has made 1 or 2 absolutely crucial mistakes. Otherwise, before now, he would have been nailed on as the 5th man in the team. But the game is still open, as they say, and Alexander Pointner has to be the man who makes the difference. Now, if you're wondering why we've paused, again, it's the wind, which has virtually dropped off to nothing, but also there's a sense that it's actually going to turn round into backwind, particularly in the upper echelons of the hills. Still front wind towards the 110-meter line and the landing zone. Wouldn't it be good if Kasai could win here? That would be something, wouldn't it? Now Deschwanden. Wind soft, predominantly front wind, a little bit of crosswind in the upper echelons from your right to your left as you watch the television screen. Deschwanden almost seems a little timid there. And that is not a great effort, I've got to say. 113 meters. And this is not what we want to see a couple of weeks before the Olympic Games from Deschwanden. Must take opportunities when they're available, and 32nd, he's out of the running. Now, sliding out on the bar. Well, he will be in a moment, and there you see the jury. Well, that's a sort of acknowledgement to Desvanden, but, you know, I have to say, I don't think that you can put it down to the conditions alone. He didn't attack. And Korfler, now the gate going up. Now, remember, we started at 19, we dropped to 17. So they're going to 18 here, and they are. So he still gets gate compensation, but instead of 9 points, 4.5 points to set against the front wind conditions. So on the in run now. Get that transition. Remember, he won the qualification yesterday. That was very good. Little shimmy with the shoulders. Gets the telemark. It's not vintage. It's just about adequate. He's got the distance, which is really going to help him. And they've only taken a point or so, a point and a half off him. And so Korfler, with still Leutzel and Kraft to come. They're not far away, but there's the challenge. Second place, less than a meter behind Yone Damjan. Karl Geiger to third, Dejman to fourth, and Naglic to fifth. It's still looking very Slovenian at the top of the table, 3 in the top 5. And now Michael Neumar, who has missed out on going to Sochi. And of course, this is going to become even more frustrating as he regains his confidence and form. 130. Skis not parallel. Telemark, that's not too bad. That should attract closer to 18s than anything else. And Neumar down into 11th place. So he qualifies. Germany. And Werner Schuster taking Severin Freund, Richard Freitag, Andy Wellinger, Andreas Wank and Marinus Kraus. That's the fivesome, the Pfeiffer for the Germans. The women, Karina Vogt leading their team, Karina Altus, Giannina Ernst and Uli Gressler. Now, somebody is going to miss out there. Stefan Kraft for Germany. Didn't qualify, sorry, for Austria, I beg your pardon. Didn't qualify so well yesterday, but 128. So you've got Korfler's experience, you've got the youth of Kraft. Kraft 128, so that's 4 meters shorter, and not the style either of Korfler. So that's another tick in the box of Korfler in his quest to go to Sochi. But it's the end of the competition that will really count. And now Jan Matura came to Sapporo and did the double here last year. He's in pretty good nick, the best of the Czechs at the moment. Faber in 9th place. That could change any moment. Aggressive and pretty good. Nice style. Hasn't got the longest distance, but Matura with something of a platform with which to attack in the second round. 127. At the back of his mind, I think there were thoughts that this would be a good opportunity to pick up some big World Cup points and to try and catapult himself closer, or if possible, into the top 10. He's lying in 24th place now, and that's before today's competition in the World Cup rankings. But he needs to do a bit better than that in the second round. Now, Wolfgang Leutzel, you've seen Korfler, 132. You've seen Kraft, 128. Leutzel, for me, possibly the weakest of the three, but now he's going to confound that comment. No, he's not. And 116. 116. So Leutzel dropping out of contention. Getting very much to the end of an era with the Austrian senior guys. And Leutzel, 34 years of age. Might this also be his last season? A gold medalist at Whistler with the Austrian team, but looking less likely to add to that the way things stand now. Now Ito, Daiki Ito. Well, it's not bad. I was about to say this would be a moment to shine here for Ito. At 28, and another man who is a member of the Snowbrand Club. Sochi will be his third Winter Olympic campaign. Never registered really on the radar there. The Japanese team, who at the last 2 Winter Olympics have finished 5th and 6th. And Ito, 4 times a World Cup winner, including, well, and a podium this year in Lillehammer earlier in the season.
Number 46, Yuri Tepes, Slovenia.
Yuri Tepes already on his way. More out than in form. And he's confirmed, but he's frustrated. Confirmed as one of Goran Yanis's picks, but he's, at the moment, he's very much off the boil. 121 meters, 26th place. I'm looking at this now for Tepes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. He is just going to squeeze into the second round. The man waiting in the wings at the moment is Simon Grimsrud of Norway. 125 meters, 111.6 points. But he's got to wait and see whether Kranic or Takauchi or Kasai or Prejoc will fall by the wayside, and that's pretty unlikely. Kranic, wobbly, unstable on the touchdown, but up there with the likes of Stefan Kraft in terms of distance, 128.
128 meters.
But it's going to cost him there. He could be in the 17s as a result of that landing, and he is. And 14th place. And that's 12 points off the lead, so that means work to do in the second round.
14th place.
Takeuchi for Japan. Now this man, a member of the Kitano Construction Club. As many of you will know, that these ski jumpers are attached to sporting clubs relating to a number of major businesses in Japan. 'Twas ever thus, and this is hardly vintage.
1.5 meters.
What it does give these men is a post-sporting life security for work. But Takauchi really at the moment disappointing. And it could be, it probably will be, not for the first time this season, that Japan have to look to this man. Believe it or not, Ito is the top man, but he's only in 12th place. But Kasai, competition, and it brings the best out of him, and it's round the 132-meter mark maybe. Good style. 132.5 is the distance, and the gate compensation virtually cancels out the wind deduction, so that's helpful. Look at the arms there, really good position, holds that, and the back's pretty good as well, and that's a solid contribution. Top 5? Must be, surely. Yeah, and 5th place, which puts him only 3 points off the lead held by Jone Damjan of Slovenia. And now, Petr Prejoc, 3rd in the World Cup rankings, behind Kamil Stoch, behind Gregor Schlierenzau, neither here, of course. But Prejoc to make hay while the sun shines, and does just that. He makes it at the moment, looks so easy. And again, the wind and gate are going to cancel each other out, so you're looking at 137, and really good style here. This might be, I think it will be, actually, looking at this on reflection here, providing The telemark landing was good, which I'll... Yeah, that's pretty good. That's going to be 19s. And he's going to be in the lead, Preuch. And Slovenia with 1, 2, 3 in the top 5, 4 in the top 7. And first place, and Preuch. Well, he could make 200 points here. Who knows? Kasai is 11 points off the lead now in 6th place as we reach the halfway stage. 30 were required. The man who misses out is Grimsrud, the last man to qualify, lucky Tepes, and he will go first in the second round as the top 30 go in reverse order, and this is the order of ranking and points. And you can see here that the points here quite spread out. The top 10, 15, call it 16 points separating the top 10. That's a big spread. That's going on 9 meters. Slovenia as a squad have done pretty well here. And there you can see Yuri Tepes. And for Austrian fans, of course, Kufler up in 3rd place. That's encouraging. These men, well, they've got tomorrow to look forward to. They've got another qualification opportunity. But then that's it. If they get into the competition tomorrow, so be it. Night has fallen on Sapporo, and the honours go to Petar Preuch. Kufler in 3rd place. Here he is. Not perfect. Have a look at the landing here. Just loses a little bit there on the touchdown, but it's half a point of deduction. And then Damian, completely rejuvenated. And as I've said on a few occasions this season, you put the work in, you get the result, and that's what he's done. And there's another green and white Slovenian helmet there, this time a Petar Preuch. Lovely skis, and the coordination on the landing there was excellent. He's a really happy chappy at the moment, Preuch. Welcome back to Sapporo, and if you're just joining us, I'm David Goldstrom with the Eurosport Nordic team. And just a reminder of where we are at the halfway stage. We're down from 50 to 30, and the top 3, Andy Kufler bidding for that 5th space in the Austrian team. Ahead of him, Jone Damian, who's already won his place for the Slovenian squad, and along with his teammate Petar Preuch, who is 3rd in the overall World Cup rankings coming into today's competition, and he leads at the halfway stage. So that's the 1, 2, 3, top 30, about to go in reverse order to decide this first of 2 competitions out here in Japan. And the time coming up towards 6 o'clock, floodlights on. And this is the order in which they're going to go. The top 30, of course, going in reverse order. And a big spread of points between 30th and 1st here. So for those who go early, like the likes of Yuri Tepes, is really struggling for form. It's all about getting the best they can out of today's competition. Stefan Kraft vying arguably with Kufler for that 5th place in the Austrian team for the Olympic Games. Better than Leutzel, of course, but worse than Kufler in terms of achievements so far. 2 competitions to determine which of those 2 I think now is going to get that 5th place. And there's Preuch. And Preuch here, well, 100 points is really at his mercy almost. If he can put in a good second effort here, and that would really close him up on the likes of Schlierenzauer and also Koch of Poland, who are not here, and they're, like so many of the top seeds, back home preparing for Sochi 2014. So the jury, 19, we used 3 different gates in the first round, 19 to start with, then dropped to 17 as the front wind strengthened, and then went back to 18, and you can see we're back to 19 now for Yuri Tepes, the first man to go.
And we are now ready
So
to start
Tepes,
the final round.
and the wind has really changed here, and that's the reason we've gone back to 19, It's quiet at less than a metre per second, but it's also turned, and it's predominantly backwind at the moment rather than front. Not conditions Yuri favours, and I would say that's a miserable Saturday for Yuri Tepes. 140.5 and 13th at the cut at the halfway stage, and 33 points separating Tepes from Preuch, and that's a spread of 18 meters between 30th and first, and we'll just see what happens, but certainly he needs to find some form. Takauchi for Japan. If you are just joining us, conditions here have been pretty good and pretty stable. The weather forecast for tomorrow not quite so good, but you never know. And that is much, much better. And you're sort of asking yourself, when you see that from Takauchi, the wind coming a little bit more front wind there, I think it'll be predominantly in that direction, which means that he may well suffer a deduction as a result of that. Yuri Tepes got a little bit of compensation, but I think it'll be a deduction, a minor one. But 128 and puts him in the lead, 243.7. It won't be enough to win, but at least it gives him a little more balance as to his abilities. Daito Takahashi now for Japan, enjoying himself here, having made the cut for the second round, which is an achievement given that he's not really that much of a specialist jumper. But this time short of the calculation line. It often happens when you have a really decent first performance and suddenly the pressure comes on, you tighten up and you miss out. And that's what's happened to him here. Unbalanced, and the timing goes to pieces and then unstable on the landing.
A total of 211.9 points.
So Takauchi in the lead from Tepes. A little way to go here, and Poppinger now for Austria. Now Poppinger, his advantage over Takauchi, that's part of 3 points, so about 1.5 meters. Now that's the low 120s, and he's not going to be able to hold on to his position there, even though he's going to get a bit of backwind compensation. It's just a little light in terms of distance, and this means that Takauchi is going to claim another place. But it's scant consolation, I'm saying. Disappointing for Poppinger, though. But this is a man with a future in the Austrian team, and so you have to keep things in perspective. Toshimoto for Japan. A few seasons ago, we really thought that this man was going to come through and make the grade, but unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. That's not to say that it couldn't happen in the future, but again, not time trajectory incorrect off the hill. And as a result of that, the distance
118 meters
wanting, and so therefore he misses out in that sense.
and Toshimoto to third place. Number 6, Danny Queck.
Dave from Halstead, good to have you with us. Funaki, no, because we haven't seen him on the list, and unless they change something for tomorrow's competition, i.e. put him in the national group, that's not going to be the case. He's not going to be participating here. Danny Queck scraped into the second round, and he's a little better than this. But again, that's the fascination when you come out to Sapporo. A lot of the athletes who come here, particularly in this Olympic season, are aspirants for future honours at the major level, and Takauchi has taken his scalp as well, and so from that original starting position, We've got
Number 7,
Takauchi
Sami
leading.
Finland.
Moved up from 29th to 25th. Heiskanen and Takauchi, another gain.
116 meters.
Disappointing when that happens. The wind at the moment just a little bit more difficult for one or two of these men. It's definitely now majority backwind here. Not terribly strong. We're talking about less than a meter per second, but they haven't got the advantageous conditions with that much more pressure under their skis that they had in the first round. Stefan Kraft, awfully important effort here for Kraft. 128 in the first round, and he's short of the calculation line. Now, if Korfler, who is lying in third place, gets a decent result out of today, it's going to be very difficult for Kraft or indeed Leutzel to make any sort of claim to that fifth place in the Austrian team. So Kraft may have to wait. He is only 20. He has time on his side, but nonetheless, at some stage earlier in January, he had thoughts of getting to Sochi, but I would say that, barring an accident, and we don't want any of those, really, his opportunity has now disappeared. Now, Maxim Oshkin. Well, fifth place in Zakopane, that would take some beating, but Maxim Oshkin in 22nd place. Well, he had more than 5 meters advantage over Takauchi. Takauchi at 128 meters, and this man 122.5. Bit of backwind compensation. This could be very close, and all those combined factors could get this man into the lead. Indeed, 245.5.
And Maxim Oshkin to the first place with 245.5 points.
10番マルクス・アイゼンビヒラー、ドイツ。
Number 10, Markus Eisenbichler, Germany.
Eisenbichler for Germany. That is okay. And Eisenbichler, 134 in the first round. This is a good, well, a good day's work, a good afternoon's work. Good to qualify. And 127 here, taking on Maxim Oshkin. Easily takes over the lead, and it'll be the best part of 5 meters, I would think, ahead of Maxim Oshkin as his nearest pursuer, with 20 to come. And Russia, and this man just giving the Russian fans a little bit of light and hope. Quite sure whether he'll be more effective on the big hill or the little hill, but well, in fact, Maxim Oshkin in second place there, 8.8. Eisenbichler in the lead. So now in the next 10, coming up, Hrgota for Slovenia, Hayek, Czech Republic, Shimizu for Japan, Kranets and Neumar, Ito and Matura, Johansson and Flava. And what's going to be really interesting is to see if any of these can really throw the gauntlet down. Now, Hrgota will be the next man to challenge Eisenbichler. The differential in points between them at the halfway stage was just about 1.5 points, so not quite a meter. And Flava, who'll be last of the next group, he has something like a 6-point advantage.
Number 11, Robert Hrgota, Slovenia.
15 to 16, well, almost 16 points separating the top 10. So these guys have got to produce something really extraordinary, this next group of 10. And low 120s there for Hrgota. Backwind.
123 meters.
Pretty stable at the moment, but backwind nonetheless. So really interesting that we started the front round with gate 19 in lighter front wind conditions, but yet we're using 19 here. Just wonder whether the jury might have pushed it to 20.
Czech Republic.
Hayek for the Czechs now, lying in 19th place at the halfway stage. And he drops away. Hogota, by the way, I should have said, going into second place. Maximoshkin down to third, and Takauchi, early days, but off the podium positions. And then Danny Quet for Germany, ahead of Austria's Poppinger, and then Kraft in 7th place. So, and Hayek even below that in 9th now. And that's just a little bit more than 2 meters of compensation when you translate 4.1 points into distance. 3.6 would be precisely 2 meters. And now a couple of Japanese performers, both on their way to Japan. Shimizu to go first, Watasi to follow. And Shimizu with an advantage over Eisenbichler of just under 2 meters. Eisenbichler 127, Shimizu, and that's short of 125. So he's going to need all of that advantage to claw back, but I don't think it's going to be enough. 123 and a half. He's got a little bit more wind compensation. The backwind has strengthened a little bit, and he can't, as I saw, he can't go first. He goes second, and he's 3.8 points off. So that is over 2 meters. So actually, good job by Eisenbichler, who now moves up from 21st place to 18th. And now 2 men who were equal in 16th place. The first one of them, Watasi. Virtually the same opportunity as Shimizu to take the lead. But on the evidence there, I don't think that's going to be good enough either. No, not for me. And Eisenbichler continues his mini march up the table. So Markus Eisenbichler from Siegsdorf in Germany, 22 years of age, and his previous personal best was 30th, so he's going to get a new personal best. There is the man currently in the lead, so today is a step forward, whatever happens. He's had a good time here, Eisenbichler, because he won 2 of the Continental Cup races earlier, or last weekend. And that's pretty good from Kranitz. There's the experience coming out there, and that's over 130 meters. And Kranitz with good style, 132.5 meters. And he takes the lead away from Eisenbichler. Eisenbichler 4th as a result of his double victory here in Sapporo in Continental Cup last weekend. And Kranitz now 266.9. That is a chunky advantage. He's the best part of 13 points ahead of Eisenbichler, who drops to second, Shimizu to third, Watase off the podium, and now Neumar. Now we sort of know that the star marks are not going to be stunning, so the distance, he needs a 137 here to shake things up a little bit. No, it's short of 125, and Neumar at the moment, I think, apart from anything else, the disappointment of missing out in the Olympics, it hangs for a time, and particularly if you're not a youngster where you can be philosophical and sort of say, oh, well, there's a next time for me, but you've got to think with Neumar, he's 35, and his time has passed really to go to the games again.
4.3 points.
So Ito. Shimizu off the podium in 4th place. Ito to try and get into the lead. And chasing Kranitz. And Ito with less than a meter. That's not going to be good enough, and Kranitz will prevail. Neumar, by the way, going into second place, but that's only because of his advantage from the first round over Eisenbichler. And Ito now taking that second place. Neumar drops to third. Eisenbichler off the podium. Well, in fact, he's not. He's third equal with Neumar. So Ito, but 5.7 points behind Kranitz, and now Jan Matura. Sapporo, such a happy hunting ground. Now, this man needs the timing to be really good. That didn't look too bad, but it's not the 135.7 meters that we were looking for.
125.5 meters.
And 125 meters. Remember, Kranitz 132.5. He takes third outright place. Tomorrow another day, but in a way a little disappointing there
54.3 points
for Matura. Kranitz.
Number 19, Robert Johansson, Norway.
32 years of age, Robert Kranitz, and now at the other end of the age scale. No, not to be for Johansson. Kranitz, by the way, runner-up here, I should have said, last year. Second and third behind Matura. And generally, Sapporo, when he's come out here, has been reasonably profitable. He was top 10 in 2012, the year before. And so top 10 back in 2008 as well. And at the moment he's taking one or two scalps here and has moved up from 16th place now to 12th, with in this group just Lucas Hlava to come. So the Czech Republic, and the difference between Hlava and Kranitz at the halfway stage, again 3 points, less than 2 meters. So it does really say that Hlava has got to get beyond 130 meters, remembering that he was 17 points off behind the leader Preuch at the halfway stage. So it's not going to be the massive distance. You could see that in the air, and Kranitz now has moved up onto the edge of the top 10 from a share of 16th place with 10 to go. Kranitz, Ito, Matura, the three men occupying the podium places with the best 10 from the first round to go. So 9 meters, or the best part of 9 meters, separating the top 10. And this is the state of play with the best to come.
We will now have a technical break with a test jump.
So here is Kranitz. Here you can see really this time he really gets the timing off the table. The transition is very good. Just a meter off the table there, you can see the legs straighten and the upper body coming. He's quicker in the execution, and the back was straight, and that's why the points were that much better. So in this last 10 we have 2 for Austria, Manu Fettner and also Andy Kurfler. France represented by Ronan Lamy-Chapuis, Italy by Roberto Della Sega, Slovenia with Naglic and Dejman and Damian and Preuch. So 4 of the top 10. Kasain here for the host country, Japan, and Karl Geiger for Austria. First to go, it's going to be Manu Fettner, not in contention for the Olympic Games. 15 points, let's call it 9 meters off the lead, and chasing Kranitz at the moment, who has the advantage. Not enough, I don't think. Just looking at it, 16 back to 20, 42 meters. It's not enough, and Kranitz is now in the top 10. And Fettner in really very calm conditions. A disappointment there. The wind, as I say, at the moment, very calm, a meter, not more than a meter per second, and he'll be really disappointed with that. Opportunity lost, he knows. And next to go, Ronan Lamy-Chapuis for France. So his differential is about 6 points. Now that gives him, over Kranec, a physical advantage of 3 meters. And it's not a bad effort by any means from Ronan Lamy-Chapuis. I'm just wondering whether he might be in line here for a personal best, which would be very timely. He was 18th in Zakopane last weekend. Now, 122 will make him 125 effectively, and 6th place with 8 to come. That can't be worse than 14th, so whatever happens, Ronan Lamy-Chapuis has got a new step forward today. Kranec, though, marching on. 9th place he's taken now, and to Roberto De La Sega. Roberto De La Sega with an advantage of 7 points over Kranec. So that's like having the best part of 4 meters in your pocket. So 127, 128 would make life interesting. But sub 120, and De La Sega lost opportunity.
113.5 meters.
And that's going to tumble him a long way down the order. You can see there, 18th place.
De La Sega to the 18th place with 237.8.
Yeah, Peter, you're asking about next week's programming. In terms of ski jumping, yeah, you're right, really. Next weekend we have qualifying from Billingen, and then the weekend's competitions from there. The women in action from Hinsenbach, which is their last test. There is Junior World Championships, and I'll try to give you a bit more information about that as you've requested. Naglic now. No, and he can't take it away from Kranec either. Just looking at Naglic, 8 points advantage. And we're getting on, 8 points advantage from the first round. That's 4.5 meters. And Kranec, little by little, now he's crawled. Well, in fact, he's stepped up to 7th place now. So 16th to 7th. And Naglic of Slovenia slips down to a really disappointing 7th place. Now Kasai. Now Kasai at the halfway stage, 11 points down on the leader Preuch. So that's a 6-meter difference. Preuch is in stunning form at the moment, but can Kasai throw the gauntlet down to all of the rest? Can he get over 130? Oh, it's a really good attempt, but for me, not quite enough. Needed to be over 130. Star was okay. 129, how frustrating is that? But it's good enough, I think, with the advantage. Well, it is good enough with the advantage that he had over Kranec to take the lead away and give Japan first place. So it's still not a bad effort. 132.5, 129, and he leads by 5 points. Kranec goes second, Ito third, Matura off the podium.
And Kasai takes the lead from Kranec with 272.5 points.
Now the pressure comes on to Nej Desmond. 0.9 of a point, his advantage over the great Kasai. So just half a meter, that's all. Well, you've just seen what Kasai has done. Majority 18s for his style marks. And now you know that Kasai has moved up a place. Kasai has moved up to no worse than 5th.
120.5
And
meters.
Kasai's performances this season in World Cup. Okay, the victory stunning and wonderful in Kulm, but he was, when you look at the performances First in Kulm, first and third in Kulm. Third also on the podium in Titisee Neustadt, fourth in Lillehammer, fifth in Bischofshofen and Kuusamo, and sixth in Garmisch and Oberstdorf, and seventh in Innsbruck. And wonderful, wonderful consistency there by Kasai. He leads, Kranic is second, Ito is third, and Dejman didn't make it, and Karl Geiger now. Karl Geiger, his advantage over Kasai, about 3/4 of a meter. So again, 129 is your marker. And Geiger short of 120, so Kasai now goes up to fourth place and looks for a place on the podium. And if he was to get that, it would be his third podium of the season, and timely. And wouldn't it be good in front of these Japanese fans to see Kasai on the podium for the host nation? These men finding it much more difficult to make the adjustment. It's backwind, it's stable, it's less than a meter per second, mostly half a meter per second, and they've not adapted. Now, Kufler to challenge Kasai, the differential, again, a meter. But this is even more important for Kufler. The takeoff was good, and he's certainly beaten his opponents, Leutzel and Kraft, today, but has he beaten Kasai? I think not.
122 meters.
And Kasai is up to third. Kufler doesn't make the podium. Kasai, Kranic, remember Kranic, 16th place now with only 2 to go. So it can't be worse than fourth. And Kasai, could he go hard? Now, Jone Damian taking him on. This is a man who is in the groove, so to speak. And Damian's advantage over Kasai, 3 points, so not even 2 meters. Kasai, 129 and 18s. Damian, really good power off the table, gets into that flying position really quickly, and that is challenging. And could well take the lead back for Slovenia here. Star will be about the same as Kasai. Wind support or compensation is a little bit more. Distance is the same, and Damian will take the lead here. And this is interesting because remember, Damian has never won one of these competitions. Never won a World Cup, but he takes the lead. Oh, he's into the lead with 277. And there's only one man between him now and a first famous World Cup victory, and it's his own teammate. Jone Damian, runner-up in Villingen in 2008. That was the last time he was in that position, and now Petar Preuch with almost 5 meters advantage over Damian from the first round. And Preuch is the winner, 100 World Cup points, and his second victory of the season. Not as long, maybe not as technically good as the first one, but there's never a doubt. And Petar Preuch convincingly takes the advantage and takes the victory. Now, he was on 336 points behind in the individual, in the World Cup standings. I need to just actually have a look at that. And the 100 points is really going to take him well to the fore now. But this is absolutely superb form from Preuch. And worth remembering, of course, he was a silver and bronze medalist at the World Championships in Val di Fiemme last February. So he has really found his form at the optimal moment. And when you look at his stats, again, the consistency stands out there. He's 21 years of age, as I said, a double medalist at the World Championships in Val di Fiemme, 16th on the big hill in Whistler 4 years ago, and 7th on the normal hill. And this is second World Cup success to go with the victory in Tauplitz on the ski flying hill. First and double first here and Tauplitz. Second in the other ski flying competition, and there Yoni Damian equaling his personal best. A third podium of the season there for Kasai. Robert Kranitz finding his form in the second round and moving up from 16th to 4th place, so he's the big climber of the day. And who's to say that Peter Pruitz wouldn't be achieving the weekend double here tomorrow? Well, the competition tomorrow, as you see the best three, is a little earlier in the day, so I'm afraid if you want to join the fun, it's 7 o'clock Central European time, 6 o'clock for those of you watching across the United Kingdom. But of course, as ever, we'd love to have your company. But time for us to almost take our leave from here, so on behalf of the Eurosport Nordic team and myself, David Goldstrom, thank you again for getting up a little early to be with us, and plenty to look forward to on this winter Saturday. And next up, it's Cortina d'Ampezzo, just underway, the second downhill competition of the week. Matt Chilton will be your host for that. But now from Japan, once again, thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye from Sapporo.